What's up, fellow LEGO fans? DJ Legos back here for another video, and today I am taking a look at a LEGO Marvel 2023 set based off of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. It is the Ant-Man construction figure. It is set number 76256. It's recommended for building ages 8 and up. Comes with 289 pieces, and I paid $30 for it here in America. But without further ado, let's start deconstructing this set and seeing how it stacks up. So, starting off talking about the build, it's pretty similar to the other buildable figures released so far. It's a lot of repetitive building, especially when you're building up the legs and the arms. That's to be expected with these types of figures, but what we're going to do is I'm going to take you from head to toe, looking over this thing. Looking at the head here, it's got that same piece used for the action figure line. It's printed nicely with the Ant-Man helmet, but this is one of those helmets like the Venom one where they actually add a little bit to the bulk of the head here just to capture the character better. So we got a nice little build here for his respirator system, and there's also some builds for the antennas on the side. It's nicely shaped around the back too as well. I wasn't expecting that, but this does bring up an issue here where this doesn't look good from certain angles. It only looks like kind of good from head on, but I do appreciate the attempt here. It does look really nice. Moving into the torso, it's very nicely built up. It does have the details of Ant-Man's suit as well, particularly the one he has in Quantumania. So you do have that nice little symbol there, kind of brick built and also using that tile. And all the decorations that you see on this set are printed, which is really nice. So no stickers here. You do have his belt down here at the bottom, which is very nicely built up as well, and it does have some side detail there with some of the pouches. And even though that this thing doesn't really have that much back detail, they did nicely tile the top half off a little bit. I kind of wish they would have done a little bit more to cover this up, make it look a little bit better. And you do have the nice shoulder pads here as well. Take a look at his arms. They are very nicely detailed on the side here. You get a nice printed part that is on both arms. You get some nice shaping here. Continuing the designs of the suit here, you do get a nice new build technique for the hands. Since they introduced these little finger pieces in with the mech sets earlier this year, they started using them with the buildable figures here, so it really creates a nice new design for the hand here. But a little design flaw with this is if you go cranking on this arm too much when you're posing, this easily pops out, and that happens on both arms. They just use that newer 1x1 with the Technic hole in it just to attach it, whereas the previous ones would use the ball joint system. I don't know why they changed it for this one, maybe to make it a little more slimmer, but yeah, that is a terrible design flaw for kids who want to play with this. And then the legs and the feet are pretty much built identically to any of the Spider-Man figures. The Iron Man one, they got the knee pads, pseudo right there. Nice little shaping with the black there. You got some nice red highlights for the dark red of his suit there. Unfortunately, you have the red pins here showing through. That's kind of not good, and down there at the feet as well, but it kind of works here in my opinion, just because the suit is red. It may be a darker red, but it kind of fits in here. And then the feet are just that little duck foot design that they have for pretty much all these buildable figures as well. But of course, the thing that matters the most for these construction figures is posability and articulation, so we're going to go over that. So the head is on a ball joint, and it gets all the range of movement you would like a head to have. these shoulder pads move out of the way. Nice for arm movement. You can get the arms all the way up there at the shoulder joint, and you can get them forward and backward, but because that shoulder pad, you cannot get it full 360. You do have the standard construction figure hinge at the elbow, so you can only really get 90 degrees at that elbow. And then you get a full nice rotation here at the wrist, which can get any way you want. And then each of the 4 fingers are individually articulated, so you can move it that way. You do have the standard figure swivel at the waist, which can go full 360 if you want it to. Legs, you splays out that far, goes that far forward, goes all the way back. Knees only really bend 90 degrees at the side there. And then for feet, you do get a little bit of forward and back, and you get some nice ankle rocking there as well. But like all the action figures I've taken a look at, the joints here are very limiting in how they chose to place them in. Some joints are great, others are not, particularly up at the hips here. You can't really get that into the kind of crouching poses that you kind of need, because it'll cause these parts at the thighs to pop off or anything. Kind of limited up at the shoulders as well with the shoulder pads and just the overall joints there. So these action figures are a good attempt. It's just some of the joints really need to be better designed. And that waist swivel, while it is cool and it is nice to build and to place it in there, that waist swivel does nothing if we don't have any ab crunch or anything, because you can't really get these things into like crouching fighting positions. So overall, articulation is kind of hit and miss here. But with this set, they did add one extra play feature, which is pretty cool. You can just pop off the gold silver ingot here on his arm, and you can do it to either arm, but they do give you a little action figure pose thing with a little Wasp statuette trophy piece, just to have him pose right here, kind of flying alongside Ant-Man, so you can kind of have this be like Ant-Man in his giant form, so that's pretty cool. And here's just a better look at that nanofig piece of Wasp here. It's kind of printed similar to how the Ant-Man ones are done, but it's printed with all her designs of her suit from Quantumania, so all that fine little details is pretty nice. So taking a look at the extra pieces, we got a lot of standard stuff here of just quarter tiles and slopes. But the standouts here, you do get an extra one of those action figure posers. And above all, you do get an extra one of the nanofig Wasp piece. A nice sizable instruction manual here. Front cover, as always, is that new awful render style that they have. First 2 pages, as always, is the little blurb about them slowly shifting over to paper bags, as well as advertising the building app if you want to use that to complete your build. It's pretty straightforward. You do have a generic blue stud there at the bottom just to represent your progress. Back of the instructions, you have really nothing. It does take 100 pages of building, and you do have the parts inventory as well as the product feedback thing on the back. Taking a look at the box, it said same size we see for the rest of the buildable construction figure line. You do have that same hallmark of the Lego Marvel branding here with a nice shot of Ant-Man with some rubble in the background. It kind of looks like Endgame, which is kind of strange. You do have in the right corner, you do have that little thing showcasing what Marvel property it is based off of, with the nice promotional of Ant-Man, Wasp, and Stinger. Down in the corner is really awkward. Down there you normally have the little call-outs of the minifigures, but because this set has really none aside from that Wasp nano fig, they could have put that down there, or just not included that. I don't know what Lego was thinking there. Side of the box, as always, has the comic book paneling with the Marvel logo. You have the Ant-Man helmet design here, sporting the actual size reference for the pieces. And then on the back, you just have another pose of the Ant-Man figure, as well as the Avengers logo down there in the corner. So going into my overall thoughts of the set, build-wise, it's pretty standard for a buildable construction figure at this point. It does have all the nice design elements of the Ant-Man incorporated pretty well. All the printed designs are really nice. My only issues here, how the mouthpiece is done, it doesn't really look that great from certain angles, and I kind of wish that was done a little bit better. And the more egregious would be how the arms were done. Every other figure before this had the ball and socket piece kind of used there. I don't know why they changed it for this one. Maybe to fix the bulky issue that they have been having with that. I don't know. But you do have that issue where if you go yanking on that arm to pose it, it does come out. So that is a really bad design issue with me. Articulation, as always with these figures, they have because of how the leg from the torso down, how the legs are designed, you really can't get these figures into crouching poses. You can't really get them into very much dynamic poses, aside from kind of splaying the legs a little bit. And then with the arms, again, not having the ball joint at the elbows kind of limits what you can do with that as well. And with the shoulder pieces do cover up the ball joints very nicely. I do appreciate them, but they also limit the articulation there as well. So articulation kind of is hit and miss here. Quality, I have to go with of course, the instruction renders, but that's a dead horse I'm beating at that point. The more egregious one here for me is the box where they just have the minifigure call-out parts just completely blank, because this one, aside from the Wasp nano figure, I don't know why they didn't do that in that space, but that just looks bad to me as a consumer. And $30 for this, when this is smack dab in the middle between the Spider-Man ones, where they're $25, and the Iron Man one, which was $40. I mean, the Iron Man one had the light brick in it, and it had that little plaque that they shortly abandoned. The Spider-Man ones are more on par with this. It's got the similar build, it's got a similar piece count. I know inflation is a big thing, but $30 is a little bit too much for me in here. I would like to see this on sale. That $25 price works for me. That is the price of what a Marvel Legends or a Star Wars Black Series goes about nowadays. So that's where that price should be, so I recommend waiting for a sale. Overall, this figure is good. It's just got a few detractors to it, and it is definitely worth the pickup if you're an Ant-Man fan. If you like these construction figures, just wait for a sale. Overall, set does get a 7 out of 10 from me. If you like this review, smash that like button, let me know. Comment below. I look forward to your feedback and what your thoughts on the set are. Always like to have a discourse with you. And until next time, stack on.